This SHIN Ramyun is the most popular Korean packaged ramen. But it's not that good for you. So I'm gonna try and see if I can make it healthier. No joke, I used to take these back in elementary school and just eat the powder by itself because it was good. Ooh. It's super spicy on its own, but I taste like notes of beef broth. They definitely have beef bone extract and beef fat in here. So I think we can use bone broth, but it's definitely super duper spicy. I see dried carrots, obviously, for the orange, some dried green onions, seaweed. I think this is shiitake mushrooms. I'm guessing this is dried beef. Kind of a mystery piece right here. We're gonna have to rehydrate it and see what it actually is. This whole bag right here is 86% of your whole daily intake of sodium. And usually people load up on like 2 of these a day. And there's also a lot of weird stuff in here that I have no idea what it is. So I haven't had this in about like 15 years, but comment below because I want to know how often you guys have packaged noodles. So we have this brick of ramen noodles that's been deep fried that you have to rehydrate with hot water. Obviously you guys already know that. Then we have our soup base and vegetables. All I can taste is spiciness. It's so hot. But let's see that mystery meat in here. Here it is. It says it's hydrolyzed soy protein or hydrolyzed wheat protein. I don't even know what that is. It reminds me of that like seitan. Seitan definitely doesn't taste like meat. I think I can make one that's good for you that has similar taste and appeal to SHIN Ramyun. Let's give this a try. So I'm gonna start with the spicy component of our SHIN Ramyun. They had a lot of spice in there. It was very spicy, so I'm gonna use a combination of a few things. The first thing I'm gonna add is Korean pepper paste, gochujang, Korean chili pepper flakes, which is called gochugaru, a tiny little bit of honey just to balance it all out. And then I found this at Trader Joe's. It's a chili sesame oil. You can just use regular sesame oil, but I thought, why not make it extra spicy like theirs? And finally, some minced garlic. And just give it all a mix. Ooh, it smells really good. I can tell this is already gonna be good. Let's move on to the vegetables. So I look at the package ingredients and they had everything here: mushrooms, carrots, green onions, bok choy, and some of the seaweed. This is wakame. I'm just gonna cut my carrot into matchsticks, but like small slivers. Now we're gonna cut up the green onions. I'm gonna separate the white parts from the green parts. So the white part I'm gonna save as an aromatic, and then the green part I'm gonna use as a garnish. Cut it on the diagonal, a little bit longer and thin. Now for the seaweed, it looks pretty tiny here, but once you hit it in the water, it expands to like 10 times its size. So I like to chop it down just a tiny little bit. Now for the mushrooms, we're just gonna cut off a few stems and save it for later, along with the bok choy. So now we're gonna cook everything together. Remember when I read through the ingredients, they had like beef fat, beef stock, beef extract, all that stuff. I'm just gonna use ground beef here instead of that modified wheat protein that they had going on in there, the fake meat. I'm gonna turn the pot on to medium-high heat, let it get nice and hot, and we're gonna cook up our ground beef. As I'm breaking it up, I'm gonna season it with this umami mushroom powder. This is where that like mushroom powder comes in. This is very low sodium. It adds a lot of flavor. Then as it's cooking up, I'm gonna add our carrots and the white part of the green onions from earlier. Make it nice and aromatic. Smelling pretty good, and look, no fake meat in there. You get the real deal. And then we pour in our beef broth. I'm gonna use beef broth here that is low sodium. We're just gonna pour a little bit of the broth in, deglaze it, and then pour about 3 cups of the broth into the pot. All right, so now we're just gonna add in the seaweed and then the spicy gochujang mixture from earlier. You can add as much or as little as you want depending on how spicy you'd like it. I wanna try to match the red spicy color from the SHIN Ramyun, so I'm gonna add the whole thing here. So far it's looking very similar to the broth, except I have real ingredients in here instead of like a powder. But I wanna taste it to see if it's close and if I need to add anything. Okay, we need to add a few more things. Mine is definitely lacking in the sodium department, so I'm gonna add a little bit of fish sauce and probably a little bit more of that mushroom powder for extra umami. I'm gonna cover it up, let it come to a boil for like 5 minutes so the flavors all meld together. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if it's gonna taste like the SHIN Ramyun. Like, there's a reason why people love that stuff, because it's so like salty and just SHIN Ramyun. Since we're making it healthier, instead of using this brick of noodles in which they deep fried, I'm gonna use some dried organic noodles. You can also find this at like any grocery stores. They're more just air dried and they're better for you. But we're just gonna cook it directly into the broth for about 3 minutes according to the package's directions. So a minute before the noodles are done cooking, I'm gonna blanch and cook up the bok choy and the mushroom and then take them out because we're gonna use them for garnish later too. So the biggest difference in here is that you can see mine has fresh bok choy and mushroom, but to be honest, it's also in here according to the package's ingredients. You just can't really see it. But let's give mine a try and see how close we came to their SHIN Ramyun. It's spicy. Okay, so it actually tastes really creamy now because we cooked up the noodles directly in the broth, and then you just taste the umami-ness from the beef broth, a little hint of that fish sauce that comes through. At first I was actually scared it wasn't gonna taste good, but I gave it time for all the flavors to come together, and I would say this is pretty legit. So the SHIN Ramyun has a very distinct packaged ramen flavor. I think it's from the palm oil that they use, but you definitely taste that, and the water or the broth is a lot more watery, but it's salty. It's like salty, spicy water, as opposed to this one where it's a little bit more like creamy, complex, and just a lot more full of flavor. I mean, this wasn't instant noodles, but it came together pretty freaking fast. I don't know. I need a judge. That's not the face you should be making.
No, it's just really spicy. It's good. Yours is a lot better.
I want to know if you guys would go the extra mile to make it homemade like my SHIN Ramyun, or just grab a package and call it a day with theirs. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys want to see me recreate any other kind of favorite foods that you like. Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you guys didn't already know, I have a cookbook. If you have it and love it, be sure to give it a 5-star review on Amazon. And if you don't have it, make sure you order it today.
Should I taste test them both? Should I try theirs first? Okay. It's just spicy.
Why?
Just a lot more flavor, but still really spicy.
There's more depth, right?
More depth.
And there's real meat.
True. This needs some hot dogs. Very good. Very good.